Okay. Hey, everybody. Hi there. Carrie Ann King here. Some of you know me
Hi.
as Carrie Schaefer and Alison Hammer. So
Hey.
I've known Alison for a few years now. We met at Women's Fiction Writers Conference in Albuquerque, right, Alison?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple
And
years ago.
actually, wasn't that the year of the awesome, very bizarre
The dance party?
well, there was the dance party, but I'm thinking about the Beat the Leak event.
Oh yeah. It was yeah, the conference was over the Jewish holidays and a group
Yeah.
of us went to um we found a synagogue in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they welcomed a bunch of us in
They
and yeah, we
did.
we had a fun night that night.
Yes, we had the weirdest. Is it Cedar? I don't even know how you pronounce it. That
Well,
was
it's a Seder, but it was for Rosh Hashanah, and so we
right,
had
right,
like
right.
I think that Kelly did have like
Kelly,
a she had like a New Year Seder, and there was a part that involved a leak, and it just got a little
it got a
crazy.
little crazy. It got a little crazy. There may or may not have been a picture floating around of me drinking directly out of a wine bottle.
Well, hey,
It was
it's
almost
all
empty.
good.
Anyways, it was fun. So that was when I got to know Alison. And Alison, at that time, you did not have an agent, a book contract, nothing like that. And so, okay, here's something I want to know, because I remember so clearly when I got the call, actually just the call that the editor was interested in my book, not even the, yeah, you got the deal. That was like, I will always remember that moment. So I want to know, where were you when you got the news that your first book was, that there was an editor that was interested in?
Yeah, I won't ever forget it. I had been my agent and I talk quite a bit. We've got a great relationship, and so we talk quite a bit. But usually they're scheduled, and it's like, okay, let's talk at this time on this day. And we had just talked that morning, I think. And I was in a meeting at work. We back when we were in an office,
Right, a
we
real
were
office.
yeah we were at a meeting and like at this high top table, and everybody was around, and my phone started ringing and it was her, and I just like like I panicked and I'm like, I've got to answer this. I was like, I've got to get this. And so I went into the room, and like a room to take the call, and was just so excited. But another part that I'll remember is that I had to call her back later because I was so excited that I forgot pretty much everything she said. So can you repeat?
Okay, guys. So Allison's kind of frozen for me just a little bit at the moment. And I was going to mention this.
Okay, I'm back.
Hang on. Cool. I was going to mention at the beginning, and I forgot. We're having a little bit of tech issues, which is not surprising given that all the people are working from home. And so the internet has gotten, a little extra exercise these days. So it happens. So what you were saying,
did you miss part of it? Okay.
I missed part of it. What I heard you saying was that she had to repeat things because you didn't remember what she said.
I was just too excited. I was like, I need the details. Like I knew the basics, but I was like, I was so excited that I don't think I was fully absorbing the information. And so I was like, can you say that again? It was
Yeah.
it was great. And so she was wonderful and told me it all over a second time.
Right. Well, you can't hear it too many times. It takes a while to believe it. I think even now, I'm on book number, well, for my women's fiction, this is coming out this fall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number 5 coming out this fall. And I still, go through that when is it really true? Can I talk about it? Because, I don't have this contract in my hand. So yeah, every time it's so exciting.
The whole talking about it thing is another thing that's just really interesting. I had something that I still haven't officially talked about, but it's up on, like, my mom found it on Amazon. So I assume I can share that it's going to be published in Germany next year.
How
and
fun.
My mom found the German book cover on Amazon. So it was just like, that's how I saw it first.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we have to backtrack a little bit. So show us you have a copy, I know. So we want to see the pretty.
I do.
There we go. You and
me and us.
And us. Okay.
And that's me.
Your picture is just absolutely, as are you, just gorgeous. It's those eyes. So what is the book about? Just the short version.
The short version, You and Me and Us. The best way I've heard it described is as a mother-daughter love story.
Oh.
And I didn't come up with that, but I like it a lot. And it's the story of Alexis, who's a workaholic mom, and Cece, her distant teenage daughter. And it tells the story of their relationship as it evolves over a really tough summer, as they lose someone in their family, the one really that held them together. So it's a tearjerker, but I promise, and you've read it, there are parts that'll make you laugh and smile too.
Okay, that's important, because you can see from the story that total tearjerker, which by the way is getting awesome reviews already, you guys. So fun thing, guys, we have some questions, and I'm gonna try and get to them later, although I can't promise you anything. Although if you do ask a good question, you are entered automatically, one of you, to walk away with a Kindle copy of that book, which I'm going to give away for Alison today. Yay! I love doing giveaways. So we have a really fun thing for you today, because Alison, being eternally optimistic, this girl is awesome. I love her. So before you had anything like your agent, your contract, show us what you had back then.
Okay, well, can I tell you why I did it? So there was a reason. So I love music. Like, it is I am not musical, but listening to music and going to concerts is like a huge part of my life. And one of the things, and it's still a dream, it hasn't happened yet, but I just would love to have a singer-songwriter write a song inspired by the book. And so when I finished the draft, I was like, okay, I want to get this to some of the musicians that I know, but I'm like, I can't hand them like a bound Kinko's manuscript or anything like that. So I decided to get super nerdy and found a website online that would like make a book for me. Aww. And so this is like You and Me and Us. You can see that was the original title with ampersand. So it stayed pretty close. And then I was telling Carrie before we went live that just to make sure that people knew that this was like not official, I wrote on here, it says draft 6, pre-agent, pre-editor. So I was optimistic, but I also wanted to let people know that this was not this was just a nice way to hold the manuscript.
Right. And, I do have to mention this before you go on. We're going to have her read a little bit to us here in just a moment. I did get a live song for my book, Whisper Me This, because I have a son who's a musician. And so there's this poem in the beginning that I wrote, and he took it and actually set it to music.
I love that.
And he sang it for me at a book signing, and I didn't know it was done. And it was one of those, I was crying anyway. So I know it's amazing. I hope it happens for you, because there's nothing like, we sent him to the studio, we got to record it. It was just like, it's awesome.
Oh, I love that. And I loved that book. So I want to hear the song to go with it too.
Oh, I'll have to send you the link. So we have a special treat, because Alison is going to read for us the first page of the book when she thought it was done. And then we're going to compare that to the actual finished product. I can't talk.
Okay. I'm going to read. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to read a page and a paragraph.
Okay.
Okay. So this is from the original chapter 1 of this version of the book. Emails are like the weeds of the internet. Delete one and 3 more pop up in its place. It would be amazing if it weren't so annoying that my inbox can go from a manageable 43 unread emails to over 300 in a few short hours. After deleting most of the spam, sorry, Nigerian prince, and filing a few others away for a rainy day, a Groupon for teeth whitening, I spot one that makes my heart smile. For a moment, at least. Hey, beautiful, will you be home early tonight? Need to chat with you about something. XX. It's not unusual for Tommy to email me during the day, and it's definitely not unusual for him to want me to come home early, but he's never that vague. Tommy knows I hate not knowing more than I hate broccoli, which is a lot. At least he said chat instead of talk. He would have used a more serious word if the something was bad. While I know the night passed early a long time ago, I check my phone to see just how late it is. 11:10. So close to the lucky hour I've been wishing on since I was old enough to tell time. I wait for it, keeping my unblinking eyes on the screen until it hits 11:11. I smile, and even though it's silly to waste a wish on something I get to do every night, I wish I was home in bed with Tommy. So that's like the first page in a paragraph of this like badly formatted. And so now do you want me to read the real first page?
Yeah, the real first page. I want to know how it changed. First off, did it change a lot?
Parts of it did.
And I recognize you kept the bit about the wishing on the 11/11.
Yeah, that's actually something that is still on the first page. It also comes back in at the end of the book. And I was like, I loved that symmetry. And I was so worried that I was going to have to lose it. And I'm so happy that's still in the final book.
Don't you love when you get to keep the things that you love?
Yeah, that's like, there was a couple things. And that was one thing that I just really didn't want to change. And then in the actual version, there's a reference to the email that Tommy sent, which is that email, but you don't read it. You don't know what the email said in the actual book. And now here's the first page of this one.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you before or after what changed?
No, just read it to us and then we'll talk about,
Okay. Okay. Chapter 1. It's dark outside by the time I finally look up from my computer. So much for being home early. I check my phone to see just how late it is. 11:10. So close to the lucky minute I've been wishing on since I was old enough to tell time. I wait for it, keeping my unblinking eyes on the screen until it hits 11:11. Even though it's silly to waste a wish on something I get to do every night, I wish I were home in bed with Tommy, not sitting in the ergonomic chair designed to be so comfortable that I forget I'm going on 14 hours at my desk. I love my job, I remind myself. My eyes find Tommy's smiling face in the silver frame on my cluttered desk, his arms wrapped around our daughter at her 8th grade graduation last summer. I linger on Cece's face, a younger version of my own, partially hidden by the thick black glasses she insists are totally on trend. I miss seeing her across the stage in her cap and gown by minutes, thanks to a creative presentation that ran late, but I made it in time to take the picture. An incoming email dings and my focus shifts back to my computer like one of Pavlov's dog. Another Google alert, their frequency increasing at the speed of Monica's fame, which unfortunately has been gaining momentum in the past year.
I love it. I love how you started actually with the 11/11 and the wish, because we know, having read the description on the back of the book, we know that her wish is not exactly going to continue to be something she takes for granted. Yeah. So setting up that foreshadowing, that's beautiful.
Thank you. And the other big change that you'd see more throughout, beyond the first page, is there's Alexis has jealous of Tommy. They're not married, so he's her partner. She's jealous of his ex-wife. And in the original version of the book, she didn't come in until probably like halfway or 2/3 of the way in the book. And my agent had an idea to bring that conflict right up on the first page. So that Google alert, that was another big change to that first chapter.
Right. Isn't it awesome having the actual teamwork? I hope that you love this. I love this. Like when you get your agent and your editor involved and the book just, comes from your special little baby to something that is just something you couldn't have done all on your own.
One of the things that I say the most is that writing is not a solo sport. And I feel like that's the reason I can be so proud of the book, is because it's not just me. I feel like, I'll be reading it and I'll be like, oh, my critique partner, Brady, she told me to add that, or that's something that Tessa or Joanna suggested. And there's so many fingerprints on this book that aren't mine that I just love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love that your sense of humor comes through. And we do need to talk about some of these things. The first thing, is your character like you at all? Because I know you mentioned that that your character had been working 14-hour day, and you guys, Alison, this week, not only is it COVID and home distancing and her first book coming out at this fun and interesting time, you've been working like 14-hour days.
I've been going on like 14 to 15-hour days for the last month between work. Advertising is one of the few industries that didn't slow down. We actually probably picked up because we had to adjust communication. And then had the book launch, and then also the edits for my second book were due. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
And now that and you look awesome anyways. I
Well,
mean,
thank
I
you.
think I would be a wreck. I think, I do. Okay, I have to ask this question. You can answer or not. Are you wearing pants?
I am. So no, it's so funny. My team was like teasing me about this because they were like, we were looking at stock photos and there was a guy who had jeans on and they're like, nobody's wearing jeans. I'm like, I am. Like, I've been getting dressed every day. It helps my mental state. Like,
Yeah.
it just helps me. I put on shoes. I'm wearing shoes too.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I find I do much better. Like if I have a shower, I'm
Oh
much
yeah,
more productive. It makes all the difference in the world. Plus which all my ideas happen in the shower. So if I skip that, then I can't
totally.
write because I don't know where the book is going. So I was going to ask you something else following that. People have been asking, right? Our readers and watchers have been asking, what are you working on now? So you already talked about that you're in edits. So what's the next book?
The next book will be out same time next year. And it just got a recent title change. They're working on the cover now, so I'm really excited about it. But the book is called Little Pieces of Me.
Ooh.
And it's the story about a woman who finds out through a DNA website that the dad she grew up adoring is not her biological father. So it's a story about identity and how we
Yeah.
see ourselves and what, how that changes when different things happen in the world.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. I love that. I love that premise. By the way, I know some people that this has happened to.
Yeah.
It really turns your life upside down to make that discovery, you know?
Yeah, the story
Yeah.
was inspired by a friend of mine. It happened to a friend of mine, and she told me, and I was just like, "Oh my God, that would make an amazing novel." And she reached out, a couple weeks later, and was like, "If you're serious, like I would be okay with that." And so she shared a lot of her experience, and I took that as a starting point, and then fictionalized it from there. So it's very much a fictional story, but
Right.
that's where it got the inspiration.
A little inspiration. So, okay, now we have to talk about you a little bit.
Okay.
So, Alison has a claim to fame, and I know nothing about this, so I got to ask. So, you were on America's Funniest Videos. Now, what I need to
No,
know, were you one of the funny videos, or did you actually appear on the show as a contestant?
So it was America's Funniest People, and it was totally random, and it was just classic me not knowing what I'm doing. But it was something we were at. I was at a summer camp, and we were at Universal Studios, and they were having this like just filming this thing for it, and they're like, so I got in line. They gave me a hot pink shirt that said Universal Studios, and they handed me a toilet plunger with a string and a water balloon. And so when it was my turn, I took the toilet plunger and I like went up to catch it and I caught it, which is like not like me. But what I didn't know is there was a nail in the bottom of the toilet plunger. So I caught the balloon and then it popped and I tried to get away from the water, but I was holding the water. And so it literally is like me slow motion, like with water falling down. And it was, yeah, it was awful. There was like a series, it was like a 30-second clip, and I was the last one. There was probably like 7 seconds of me in like slow motion. It was, we have it on videotape somewhere, and I just like, I hope we can find it because it'd probably be pretty funny to look back on.
Yeah, how old were you when this all happened?
Maybe 12. So
Okay.
super, super awkward, very
Right.
funny age.
Right. And just at that perfect age to be thoroughly embarrassed by something like that.
Oh, totally. But it was cool to see it on TV.
Yeah, for sure. No, you did say that you do have a tendency to be clumsy. And so
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to ask you, Alison emailed me that on her resume, there's a section for the places I have fallen. So is this like really seriously, you put this on your resume? Because
I do. So, in the advertising industry, especially in the creative department, it's not like super formal. And so they love it when you can show your personality. And
I
so
love it.
I have a list. Some of the highlights on the list are, and I also just use it as a way to like, give some information about myself. So one of them was, I think I said I fell down like 70% of the mountains in Israel. I went on a high school in Israel program, and I am very clumsy. I fell running for the 145 bus here in Chicago. I fell on stage at college graduation in front of thousands of people. Thousands. that actually is kind of a funny story. It was in like the basketball stadium, and they had like, built a stage, and they had stairs like, up against it. And it was the kind of stairs where there was like a gap between the steps. And I was walking down the stairs, and I think my dad or my mom called my name, and I looked up, and my heel, which I don't usually wear, got caught.
Oh no.
And like I created like a stopgap of like all the people. And then also on on the Pat McGee Band's tour bus, I fell. The driver hit the brakes, and I fell back. And a friend of mine reached down and like pulled me up, so it looked like a really fancy dance move, but it was a fall. So I've got a ton of falling stories.
Well, okay, and fortunately, you're sitting.
Yes. I'll stay put.
Sitting safely. I have fallen, out of chairs before. These things are also possible. I'm also.
I haven't done that yet. Hopefully, I'll stay put.
Can also be klutzy. So we did have a question from earlier that I wanted to ask. Ruth wanted to know, she was asking about women's fiction. First of all, what is women's fiction? And she asked, do you find it helpful or do you find it limiting? And the first part of that question, I think I'm just going to say before I ask you, women's fiction, it's like that. It's not a very clear-cut definition anywhere. But I'm interested in knowing, what your take is on that. So
yeah, it's funny. It's a simple question and a really complicated question.
Yeah.
And Carrie and I are both members of an amazing organization, the Women's Fiction Writers Association. And I think that they've been trying to nail down a definition that everybody from writers to agents and editors can agree on. And the simplest way that I put it is that it's about a character's emotional journey, and that it's not, it's almost, to me, defined by what it's not. It's not a romance. It's not a mystery. The core story is about a character. It's usually a woman. There's a debate on whether or not it has to be a woman. But the main thing the story is about is that emotional journey.
Right.
And as far as if I think it's limiting, I don't think I set out to write women's fiction. I think that I wrote a book and was like, okay, this is what it is.
Right.
People before were like, oh, is it chick lit? And it's not chick lit. Like, I think that chick lit to me implies like more light and just, not that the book is like dark, but it just feels a little bit more serious. So to me, I was happy to find women's fiction as a kind of a genre where I could put the book. And I know there's a lot of, Jennifer Weiner, I saw an interview with her where she said that, women's fiction versus if a man writes a book, it's just fiction. But it's, I love the community, and I love, like, really those are the types of books that I enjoy reading that are about that emotional journey.
Right. Well, and I don't think, women's fiction doesn't mean that it's written by a woman necessarily.
No.
It doesn't mean it's women writing fiction. It's fiction, like you say, that Carrie covers that emotional journey. And my last book, Everything You Are, was originally, when it was accepted for publication, the main character was a male point of view. We ended up changing that up in revisions just because there was something that wasn't working. But it can be,
totally. And we've got quite a few guy members in WFWA. So
yeah. We have a bunch of guys that write for Lake Union as well, which is, book club women's fiction. So I think it's that emotional journey. And along that emotional journey, there can be a mystery. It can have some romance. It can have, I've seen some that are kind of even thrillery, it just,
totally.
Right.
I think it's just what the core of the story is about, that it, that journey. So
is primary. Yeah. Yeah. Very fun. So let's see, we talked about your new books, and what about, I was going to ask this. Do you think that the conference is going to happen this year in Albuquerque, or are we going
I hope so. I'm actually I'm helping our mutual friend Erin Bartles out on the conference this year, and it is one of my favorite. I'd never been to Albuquerque or New Mexico before, and this is going to be my fourth year, I think, since I joined the organization, and it is just this hotel, the Old Town Hotel in Albuquerque.
Awesome.
they know us. There's a patio and we literally take it over and we just like sit out there and write and have margaritas. And this year the presenter is Donald Moss, who is just like brilliant. He's an agent and an author, and just like his courses like just really push writing to the next level.
Right.
And so my fingers are crossed that the world is safe enough that we can all get together for it.
Right.
It's in October or end of September?
I
think it's the end of September.
I don't remember. I didn't get to go. I was going to go last year and then I missed it. Actually, it fills up so fast, you guys.
Yeah.
I missed the registration period.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's okay. I did something else. But this year, anyway, we'll see what happens. It's crazy because lots of conferences are being canceled. And so we're doing things like this. So what's it been like? Oh, Lainey knows. Hi, Lainey. Lainey is one of our women's fiction people.
End of September.
End of September. So Alison, what's it been like for you trying to, it's so exciting to have a debut novel and it's coming out and you have all these things going down and then Corona happened and, has it changed things a lot or were you going to do things from home anyway? Or how's it been?
It's changed a lot. And I do try to be optimistic. There's a lot of silver linings. And I have been really trying to focus on those. I have my moments. I like a couple things that I was sad about. I actually got a little teary today. I haven't been able to see my book in a bookstore, and that's just like a dream. But Volumes Book Cafe, one of my favorite bookstores here in Chicago, posted a picture in their store today, and I could see my book like on a display table.
Did you cry?
I got teary. Just to see that was just so exciting.
Yeah.
And so that was great. I haven't been able to sign autographs, which is another thing that like I just feel like is part of the experience. And a book cake, and there's things that that I really am trying to think about it as postponed and not canceled, and so I really do hope. But I mean, let me tell you, it has been remarkable with how much just people have come together, and the fact that people are more comfortable with doing virtual events and Zoom events and book clubs, and people have more time to read. It's funny. I've gotten messages from people that they've read the book in 24 hours or 2 days, and that I don't think would have happened because I think people didn't have time. But it's funny. I think about, when I was a kid, my mom would spend like an hour cooking dinner, and then we would sit down at the dinner table and be done in like 5 minutes. And she's like, "Why did I spend all this time?" And there's something funny that like it took 4 years to get here, and people read it in a day. It's just right? It's crazy. It's awesome, but it's just like, I don't know, it's crazy.
It is. I get that. But you know what? Once you've read a book, it stays with you, right? It's not like you just read it and done. If it's a good book, think about your favorite characters in books that you really love. They're still with you. It's like they're alive. You met them. They're real people. Even though you're not reading the book, they're out there doing things on their own.
And that's one of the things that I'm the most excited about is so while You and Me and Us was my first book, my debut novel, it was not the first book that I wrote. The first book that I wrote took me 15 years to finish writing, and it features Tommy and Alexis, the same characters, just 15 years earlier.
Oh, wow.
So that started as a short story in college. So I've been writing about these characters for 20 years. And so I know them like they are real people to me.
Sure.
And to have like people know them now and like to be thinking about them as real people too, it's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. I have to say, Michelle, thank you for Michelle said that authors like us have made staying at home so much easier. And
thank you.
I love being on the side of being able to maybe do for readers what all of my favorite authors have done for me, because I've been reading so much lately. I've been telling the Viking, I'm just lazy right now. It's like I usually work really hard at my own job doing things I decide I'm going to do, but I've been reading because it's just this perfect escape, and I'm so grateful to all the people who have spent the time so I can read those books. It's
reading.
Awesome.
It's a great escape. And right now when we're stuck at home and can't go anywhere, and so much of us are dealing with like stress and just concern and anxiety, reading can be a great escape.
It totally is. So I do have to take a minute. This is a little me self promo minute for me too now, because I got my
Of course.
ARCs. So
Oh.
my
Oh, it's
look at those
beautiful.
colors. I know this little white thing that you see up here is an advanced reader copy notification. So
Oh,
I know I love
it's
it.
gorgeous. I
My
love the
books, my
colors.
books came. Here's the other thing that's different. My books came and they were all in quarantine. It's like everything comes into my house. We live in the middle of nowhere, and we're very lucky that way. So it's really pretty easy. We just kind of like put up the drawbridge and nothing comes in or out except mail and groceries, right? But when the mail comes in, there's now a quarantine place for it.
Oh my goodness. So I live in a 690 square foot apartment. So for
Oh
me, it's
my
a
gosh.
little bit. And then here's a funny mail story for me is that I when I thought I was going to be going to 5 different cities and having like little tour, I bought 500 custom Kleenex with my book cover on it, and they got here yesterday. And so I have these 2 big boxes. So if anybody runs out of toilet paper, like I'm your girl. Like,
you could
like
totally you could probably market that now. It's like
I know. When you run out, bring the book in the bathroom, and I've got the yeah. Sorry, that was probably terrible.
No, that's perfect. That is like the best marketing tool I think ever. Like seriously, buy the book. Let me know. I'll send you the toilet paper.
I know.
And
So when is your next one coming out?
September 22.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah, that's this one. So I have just signed up for a book tour, and the ARCs are all here. And the way life is different. I am actually signed up with a mail service. I don't want to go stand in the post office and mail all those ARCs. It's like, so I
was just thinking about that, and I'm
them
gonna
from home.
Yeah, I might. I was talking to some of our other friends, Suzanne Park, who also had her book come out. She has 2 books coming out this year. She has one YA book that came out last week, and then her adult novel is coming out in August or September. But she was saying like, oh yeah, it's super easy. You just print the labels, and I'm like, I don't have a printer, so that might have to be my next purchase.
Okay. So I just hit some button and a weird thing happened on my screen, but hopefully you guys can't see it. So everything still look okay to you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. Because I'm seeing code. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, I think it's all right. Okay, now we're normal again. Okay. Lainey wants to know, how do we get an early copy? Yes, it is on NetGalley. It is up on NetGalley. I'm going to be doing some giveaways as well, so just stay tuned. Be on my newsletter, carrieannking.com. Just go there, sign up. People on my newsletter get all kinds of special little perks. This week I did an ARC giveaway just for them. So if you're on my newsletter, you're going to get all the in the know and stuff that you might not get elsewhere, which leads us to Alison, my dear. Where can people find you?
Yes, I've got a newsletter also, and everything is online at my website. It's www.alisonhammer.com.
Okay, and Alison is ALLISON. One L?
Just one L. Yeah, so it's ALISONHAMMER.com, and I keep it easy. I'm at This Hammer on all social media platforms. So not that hammer, I'm This Hammer.
This Hammer.
An easy way to remember it. Yeah, and so I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all the places. And again, on my website, I have contacts. If anybody wants their book club to read You and Me and Us, I would love to virtually call in or Zoom in and do a Q&A or something. So
awesome.
That's something I'm excited about.
Right. And as you've already noticed, Alison is an awesome guest and would be great fun to have for a book club. So find her. Go to AlisonHammer.com. Follow her as This Hammer on social media. I love that, by the way. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think that's about it for today. Thank you so much, Alison, for joining me. This was really fun to have you.
I had so much fun. Thank you.
Yay.
And hopefully I'll see you in September.
Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Everything's, and if not, then next year. So this is not forever.
Great.
Thank you
All right.
all who have been here listening. The ebook is going out to Michelle and Wait. Thank you so much for all of your comments. So just message me when we're done here and send me your mailing address. And you guys go read a good book. Stay safe. Be smart. That's from the Viking. Be smart, be safe. That's what he always says to all the kids every time they leave us. So I'll leave you with that.
Perfect. No, I was just gonna say I saw somebody say something similar. It was be safe. What were your two that you said?
Be safe, be smart.
And someone added be kind, which I love.
Oh, I do. I love that. That's perfect. Be safe, be smart, be kind, and read a book.
Yes.
All right. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
I'll be back again next week with another guest. So tune in, same time, same place. Bye.